In this chess video, we are going to look towards amazing games played by Magnus Carlsen, who is one of the world's number one in chess history. Now, over here, Magnus Carlsen as white decides to play c3. The main logic is he wants to play scary openings and he even planters at the openings. You will know how. Well, he plays c3, the main logic. He wants to break out the queen to a4, make a pyramid like this and bring it back to E1. But over here, black realizes the planning and black plays B5. And this is how Magnus Carlsen reacts to this.
Wow. 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 Novelty.
Okay, so after looking towards Magnus Carlsen's reaction, Magnus Carlsen doesn't lose hope and he plays F3. So if he cannot take out the queen, so he can play f3. Means he wants to bring this king over here, here, and over here, and now comes to t1. This is his planning. He wants to make a circle round. Bishop to b7. Black is developing the bishop, and black is not getting overconfidence because black have a amazing point of winning this game. King comes to f2, knight to f6, king e3, c5, king to d3, e6, and then king c2. You can understand in this kind of moves, you can understand white is playing vulnerable and black is playing amazing over here since black is developing his pieces and he can play d5 and can play knight over here, which is amazing planning. Well, d5 attacking towards the center, which is amazing point. Queen to e1 and then bishop d6, king d1. Now you can understand. What do you think? Who is winning over here? Of course, black is winning over here. Black has developed all his pieces, and white has not even developed one of the piece. But yes, Magnus Carlsen is not scared at all. And now I want to ask you, wasn't it a scary opening? And wasn't it such kind of blunders that he made? Yes, these were both. Well, over here, queen to c7. Main logic is that he wants to attack this x2 pawn. But Magnus Carlsen doesn't care and he plays d3. Now he wants to develop the bishop. Now after black captures it, then Magnus Carlsen comes to his logic and Magnus Carlsen realizes that position is going to be ruined. So let's play e4 attacking towards the center. And Magnus Carlsen is playing completely logical over here since he is making plannings like controlling the center and attacking towards the center, which is an amazing point. Also, he is opening this bishop having one square. Bishop to g3. The main logic comes, he wants to attack this enemy queen. Queen e3 and then d4, attacking towards the queen. Okay, in this position, if I have a question, why this pawn cannot capture this pawn? If this pawn captures this pawn will capture back, queen may capture back, and yes, over here, you can realize bishop can come over e5, bishop can come to e5, this queen can be used attacking towards the enemy king. Means you can say that this knight can come over here, rook can come over here and can attack towards king side. And king side is completely destroyed because king is having no safe squares. Anyways, in this position, taking this pawn is not a good idea. So comes queen to g5, attacking this pawn. Remember, this bishop is not under attack because queen is protecting this bishop. Now comes knight b to d7. Black is allowing this pawn to be captured by the queen because after queen will capture it, rook will come over here and queen will be forced to come back. And this will make a worse position for white. So black playing completely amazing over here. F4 main logic comes that black want to black's bishop is going to be disconnected from the queen and in the next move white can capture this bishop. Bishop to f2, knight to x3 attacking the bishop and then comes bishop to e3. Now Magnus Carlsen decides to have a first trade on the game by trading the bishops. After a trade, queen to g3, then comes c4. Well, why does black place c4 in this position? Okay, if we will push this pawn forward, then this pawn is gone by the knight or the bishop. And remember, this pawn is very important since this is a central pawn. Also, this pawn, if Magnus Carlsen captures this pawn, then there can be same reason that it can be captured by the knight. So, queen captures this pawn, black captures this, and then Magnus Carlsen does not want to capture this pawn by the queen or the bishop because this queen can come over here and over here. This knight can also jump to here, attacking this bishop. If we take it bishop, queen over here, knight can come over here and can attack this. And this may create a lot of attacks. So it is not a good option for white to take this post. And even the computer analysis says that taking the pawn is not a good move. Instead, Magnus Carlsen plays knight to d2, protecting this pawn. Over here, knight to c5, attacking this pawn and protecting this pawn at the same time. Knight to f2, rook to d8, protecting this pawn. And you can realize this bishop, this knight attacking this central pawn. And this knight is protecting this pawn, this rook is also protecting this pawn. And you can realize black has developed all his pieces and he is all set to attack the center as well as protecting his pieces at the same time. G4, attacking toward creating a pawn storm towards the enemy king. Anyways, b4. Now black says that if Magnus Carlsen can attack my king, I can also attack it towards his king. So black plays b4, and over here, if Magnus Carlsen plays g4, so you might be expecting that g5 will be the next move, attacking this knight, right? But over here, Magnus Carlsen plays c4, and then comes e5. f5, Magnus Carlsen is now not accepting any kind of trade. Rook to d4. Now rook come towards the center, attacking this center pawn. Black has only one objective, and that is to attack this central pawn. If we will attack this pawn, then this pawn and this pawn together can push towards the enemy king. And you can realize this will be an amazing idea. Bishop to g2, protecting this pawn. Knight to a4, attacking this pawn, which is an amazing point. So rook to b1, an easy reply, protecting this pawn. Now comes queen to d6. And here g5, attacking towards the knight. Knight to d7, king to e1, and then knight d to c5. Over here, black has brought all his pieces attacking towards the central pawn once again. And over here, Magnus Carlsen is quite smart that he is not allowing black to have any kind of attacks. Even after knowing that this king cannot do anything and position is completely vulnerable, still you can understand. This is move number 26 and the position is completely equal. So how is it possible? So this means that Magnus Carlsen is playing completely carefully. And over here, rook comes to x3. Now Magnus Carlsen decides to attack his pawn with extra pressure. He can try to apply pressure. Anyways, over here x6. Now over here x6 is a big mistake. Black loses his control and he plays x6, which was a massive mistake. And Magnus Carlsen realizes that this was a mistake. So Magnus Carlsen, not even trying to trade, Magnus Carlsen plays f6 and he found a great move. Well, in this position, if it will capture it, then white can capture it back. Actually, white will not capture it back. If it captures, then it will capture with the rook. And if rook captures, pawn captures, and it will be promoted to queen. So black understand the planning because black is a 2700 rated player. So black doesn't fall for such traps, and instead he plays g6. Now, if I tell you g6 was not a good move, but still black was forced to play g6 in this position. Now, why was it not a very nice move? since white can capture the pawn. And once again, there is the same planning. But guess what? Black accept the trade. And after this trade, you can understand that this pawn is going to be promoted to queen in just two moves. So black captures the pawn, protecting the square, controlling the square where the queen can be promoted. So this means that black is now not allowing white at all to promote the queen. Anyways, queen to x3 means helping towards pushing this pawn forward. King to e7. Now king to e7. Why he plays king to e7? He wants to bring his rook back so that he can prevent this control the square. Rook knight to g4 attacking towards the queen. Queen to f4 and then comes x7. Now rook to d8, knight to e3 in this position. Okay, now why he plays knight to e3? Instead, he could have tried promoting this to queen, right? Well, this is not a good idea since rook can capture it back. If we will capture it back, then it can capture the knight, and this bishop will be under attack. And Magnus Carlsen understood that this is not a good variation to play. So over here, he plays knight to e3, protecting the knight. And then comes bishop to c8, attacking the queen. As you can see, h8 equal to queen, and then bishop takes on x3. Queen takes on x3, and now Magnus Carlsen have 1 point advantage since he is a minor piece up. King to f8, knight to d5, attacking towards the queen. Now remember, knight to d5 attacking towards the queen can be one of the variation, but the main variation is that this knight is protecting, controlling the square, and in the next move, queen to x8 is a checkmate. So black is forced to sacrifice the rook for the knight, and Magnus Carlsen captures it. Now over here, Magnus Carlsen is a piece up, and you can realize Magnus Carlsen after playing a scary opening and this amazing kind of tactics he applied in this game. Can you realize how Magnus Carlsen uses the plannings? Also, Magnus Carlsen over here doesn't lose his hope. King to g7 at 10, he plays rook to c1. Now Magnus Carlsen is completely in confidence because he know what to do next. A5, rook to c4, and then comes knight to b7, which is a big mistake since rook to c8, and there is a checkmate in the next move. So queen to x6, but over here Magnus Carlsen does not want to exchange the queen. Yes, he plays rook to g8. And if you like this move, then my audience, please do like this video. Anyways, in this position, if king captures it, then queen will be captured. And Magnus Carlsen was successful in capturing this queen. Now can you realize Magnus Carlsen is queen up? So can you realize Magnus Carlsen was before minor piece up, then he became rook up, and now he is a queen up. And Magnus Carlsen, after applying strange tactics in the opening, he received such kind of position against 2700 rated player. Over here, knight takes on p2. Black is trying his best to have these three pawns promoted, and let's see if black gets successful in that. Well, knight to f3, knight to c4, knight g5, threatening the checkmate in the next three moves. D2 giving a check. Now black is trying to give some forcing moves because black have no other options. King goes to d1, knight giving to d6. The main logic was that if queen will try to give check, then checkmate is protected. So over here, Magnus Carlsen plays bishop to x3. Now comes a4. Main logic is that he wants to play b3. After a trade, he wants to push this pawn and promote to queen. And that's all what black can do over here. Over here, bishop to e6. Now, can you realize Magnus Carlsen is such a confidence, he sacrifices the bishop as well. If black captures it, then white captures back b3 and turn comes e7. Now Magnus Carlsen had this knight as a trouble since this is not allowing this pawn to be promoted. So Magnus Carlsen decides to play knight to e3. Black plays knight to e3 giving a check. King captures on d2. Magnus Carlsen captures the pawn and then comes knight d2 c4 giving a check. Both these knights are trying their best to humiliate King's territory, but Magnus Carlsen doesn't allow so. King to e2, b2, and then comes Black resigns this game. Now, what is the main reason of resigning? Well, Black forgets that in the next move there is a checkmate. So this was the game played by Magnus Carlsen.